It's great to have you. Happy Friday.
Yeah, happy Friday indeed after this week. Wow.
Yeah, we've made it to this point. You know, I think it was B of A this morning said the two most frequent questions we get are, when's a good time to start buying good growth again? And when's the time to take profit on my best shorts? Their team says yesterday was the day. Do you agree?
Yeah, I mean, so yesterday in the morning, we hit real extreme oversold levels. We were already extremely oversold, and then another 3% decline into the open. And at the open, it was all a sell-off on the Russia going into Ukraine. And I mean, the market had been selling off on the prospects of that for the last several weeks. So I think, part of it was just, the shorts in the market coming in, covering, and it created a vacuum. And What's interesting is you had stocks after hours. You look at Square or you look at Etsy. They're up 40% off their intraday lows yesterday. They're still down on the month. I mean, so these kinds of moves are just to try and read too much. Everyone wants to say, "Is this a bottom? Is this a bottom?" We're just going to see this kind of moves going forward on the day to day for quite some time. I think it's a headline-driven market. And as we get some resolution and see what happens with Russia and Ukraine, then we focus back on the Fed again. So I think you do want to have exposure to some growth. You don't want to have necessarily exposure to the hyper growth section of the market here, especially since the Fed hasn't even hiked rates once yet. But more conservative tech is certainly an area you want to be involved in.
Yeah, you did point out earlier in the week that the NASDAQ decline now is pretty much average since its founding in the 70s. We got to that 19.5 or so, and it's happened in a fairly compressed time. I do wonder, though, these analogs to 2018 were fitting pretty well, but does Ukraine make a lot of that invalid now?
So, I mean, in the short term, it makes a lot of it invalid. But I mean, I think these geopolitical events, we look at every one of them and we say, oh, this one's different and it's more meaningful and more impactful than the last one or the ones past. But in the moment, all these geopolitical events always seem like they're, really bad and much different. And then a year from now, you look back at them and you say, hey, Mill, you know what? Maybe that wasn't so bad. So just investing in everything in life, it's a lot easier in retrospect than in the present moment. And I think in that respect, as we move on, the Russia-Ukraine will be less of an issue, and we'll be back to focusing on the Fed again.